Hey, welcome back to the Real Estate Excellence Podcast with your host, Tracy Hayes. Best of the best, once again today on the show. My guest today is actively involved in the local community, coaching, volunteering, as well as serving in the local board here in the St. Augustine Board of Realtors. Currently serving as president.
Incoming president.
That's what I thought. You had, but your bio, maybe you jumped the gun on the bio there. He's also the vice chair of the St. Johns County Affordable Advisory Committee.
Yep.
As well, that I serve with him on, working in the automotive industry for 10 plus years in Northeast Florida. He went from washing cars to managing dealerships. We're going to talk about that. I'm looking forward to that. He was a top 40, under 40 in automotive news. He spent a decade committing his personal, professional life to mastering his sales skills and later increasing gross profit and sales volume in various auto dealerships. He has taken those skills to real estate, and that's why he's on the show today. With a clear passion for people, leadership, and sales, Steve is focused on providing customers with a professional and exceptional customer service with strong communication and negotiation skills. As a servant leader, he thrives on growing, developing, mentoring, teaching, and positively impacting all of those around him. I think he shows that daily. And when I see him in the things he's involved in, he definitely puts himself out there. Let's welcome the regional director for Coldwell Banker Premier, Steve Ladrido.
Thanks for having me, Tracy.
Excellent. I'm so glad to have you on, and I know you're so involved at the board, and obviously we're on the Affordable Housing Committee. And then, you guys have had some changes going on at Coldwell Premier that you're heading up. Yep. And we want to dig in and talk about that because, I mean, you guys are sitting, on a gold mine in St. Johns County, and I know you guys, probably drooling at the bit of 2022 and what's coming on every day. Yep. And exciting about the new sales coming in, new people moving in. We can't find them homes.
Right. Well, that's where Dream Finders and Jet Home Loans comes in to help with a lot of new construction. Yeah. But the market's crazy right now. I'm sure we'll talk a lot about that.
Yeah. So I wanted to start, we always start off just getting a little bit to know you.
Sure.
So if I read your bio correctly, you were born in California, but you moved to Winter Haven fairly young.
Yeah, fairly young, young teenage years, went to high school there. And, it was a bit of a culture shock growing up in Southern California and being born and raised there, and then moving to Central Florida. When we moved there was nothing but cow pastures and orange groves.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So what brought your family from California to here, though?
Family. So my dad was in the Marine Corps, and when he got out of the Marine Corps, we just wanted to be closer to family, and my grandparents lived there close by in Bartow, and it was time. It was time to leave Southern California.
And then throughout, because you've been here in the greater St. Augustine area for 18 years, have I read correctly?
I moved here in 2003, so I've seen a lot of the growth happen.
Yeah.
A lot of the growth happened.
I didn't get here till 2000, even though my wife's from Jacksonville, but they talk about obviously a lot was dirt roads and that we're seeing now that are 4-lane highways, if you call them that.
I don't go back that far, but I can't tell you for the St. Augustine folks, when I moved here, the cobblestone 312 complex that had just been built, that was like the brand new thing. That was the newest, hottest shopping center. So it's grown quite a bit since then.
So you as I mentioned in the intro, you spent 10 years.
Yep.
How old were you when as a young man, just getting a job washing the cars, detailing the cars?
So in high school down in Winter Haven, I worked for a buddy of mine's dad's detail company and learned how to detail cars, and just that was something we did while we were, after school and ways to make money. And after high school, I did a little bit of community college, local area, Polk State College there. And then I decided to leave the country. I moved to Costa Rica, which you won't find in the bio.
No, I did not see that in the bio. Yeah, let's get there. Why didn't you stay?
A lot of people ask that. But I went down to Costa Rica and lived down there for a while and surfed and did what 20-year-old kids do when they move outside of the country, right?
That is so cool.
And then when I moved back, I knew I didn't want to stay in Winter Haven. I grew up next to the beach in Oceanside, California, and I surfed.
And you just got done surfing in Costa Rica.
Right, and it was just, I didn't want to be landlocked, and nothing wrong with with Winter Haven, just didn't fit my lifestyle.
Right.
And I found St. Augustine because a bunch of friends of mine were going to Flagler, and they had made a home base in St. Augustine. I came up for a weekend, and it's kind of funny because I didn't even have a place to stay. But I left that Sunday, and I was back by Tuesday with all my stuff. It's just this is where I want to be. This is where I want to stay. So naturally, the first thing I did was started going to dealerships. Hey, I know how to wash cars and clean cars, and I registered at the local community college, St. John's River, and that was it. I started washing cars and going to school and doing what 20-year-olds do in St. Augustine back then.
Yeah.
And just really enjoyed life, and then. I got to a point where I started to see the salespeople and the kind of money they were making and what they were doing, and I could probably do that. I could probably try that. And fortunately for me, I've had really great mentors throughout my
that was
career.
one of my things. I could see that in your bio. I'm like, okay, he's moving up. Either he has just a truly natural skill, or you're at least catching the eye of somebody who's.
I like to believe it was a little bit of both. I think my background gives me a little bit of cultural diversity and just being able to be in those different environments and talk to all sorts of different types of people. Communication's a big deal. And I had a few mentors that said, you know what, this guy, he talks well, he dresses well, he's personable, and let's see if he's persuasive. So I did. I tried, and it was kind of funny because when I was washing cars, I was trying to do a trial run. So I was like, listen, I'll wash the cars, and then at night and on weekends, I'll go get changed, and we'll see how it works. And like lo and behold, 6 months later, I'm like near the top of the leaderboard. I'm still like even 4 or 5 months into it, I'm still doing both jobs. So I literally would sell a car and then go back there and wash it. Right?
That's cool.
Or sell a car at night and then have to come back and wash it the next day, right?
Right.
For delivery. So I appreciate all the help that was given to me and somebody recognizing that. But yeah, that's what started my sales career. I just saw people doing something that I could do.
Yeah.
And it slowly progressed into something that it is now.
That story right there is precious from the standpoint with your kids, and you were doing the right thing, observing, learning, and like I said, you had the skill, and obviously someone probably recognized you because of your work ethic. We're like, well, the guy does a really good job there. We like him. Let's see if we can. And then the sky was the limit there.
Sure.
That's just awesome story.
And honestly, Tracy, that's kind of been the catalyst and the makeup of my career. And that kind of drives me to be who I am, which we'll talk a lot about that. But that passion there that somebody was able to find something in me, that's what drives me every day. I mean, that's my job, is to find the same thing in other people.
Right. You went through a couple things there. You actually spun my mind. I had a question, then you just created another one. We're going to dig deeper in that and how you go and select agents, because you guys are very busy. You are very present in it. You don't have to bring everybody on, and I do have that question a little bit later on. So. I mean, you went up to as I recall, a general sales manager.
Yeah,
you were running a dealership sales department.
Yeah, it's a really funny story. I said I moved here in 2003, started working in the dealerships, got my sales belt underneath me, right? I was working in sales, and then ended up working for. I moved dealerships with one of my mentors and managers, and ended up getting into the. Which at the time is kind of funny. I ended up getting into internet sales, and mind you, this is early 2000s. So if you know the dealer world in the early 2000s, they were big naysayers, like, oh, that'll never work. What's the internet?
Right.
So I took on the internet sales department, and that was really the big defining moment that shifted me to a leadership role. Because I took that on.
Excel in that.
Yeah, I did. I took that on, and I hired a few people and just was able to scale from 5 units in a month's time to like 65.
Let's take the little snapshot there for a minute. And of course, we're talking primitive internet at this point.
Early 2000s, yeah.
To today's technology, and it related to homes.
Yep.
And how many people? I think the builder says the typical person who walks in the model has already seen the model a handful of times online.
Yep.
What is it like in a car? I mean, I imagine you probably know what the statistics are today. People are researching online. When they come walking in, they know what they want.
Yeah, it's the same thing. And the reason I bring that up, or the reason I use that, is because that's been a really big advantage for me, because the real estate industry is a little bit behind the automotive industry, right? So at that time, you had the Auto Trader magazine, right? And websites were just becoming a thing, and syndicating their inventory was just becoming a thing. Well, that's not been going on for very long in real estate, relatable. So I had a leg up. I had an advantage to see how that was going to work.
How powerful it is.
How it was going to change our industry, and how it was going to change our business. So
right.
I got a ground level seat in the automotive industry, and I was able to apply that to real estate. And now, exposure for listings, exposure for your properties is everything.
I think it's going to be, the internet, from that just a standpoint on just talking about that in homes, because of how hot our area is. We do have people buying homes sight unseen, as crazy as that sounds, but you also have investors who are just investing in homes sight unseen. They're seeing them on the internet, and how well you're presenting it is vitally important.
Well, I think a big part of that was the paradigm shift from being able to use the internet as a resource. You think about it this way: when you were looking for a home 20 years ago, you drove neighborhoods, right?
Yeah.
You looked at the paper, you got the local Homes and Land or whatever it was. Now, to your point, you use the internet, and those photos that the listing agent takes, and the videos that they make, and the exposure that they create, now becomes the first viewing for a potential buyer.
Yeah, and they may yay or nay it right there.
Yeah. Buyers are ruling properties in and out every day just by photos.
And YouTube is only the second largest search engine next to Google, so it's power of video.
Right.
From that standpoint.
Right.
So, man, I know some guys in the car business. They at least drive a nice car, because I'm sure you had they gave you a car to drive.
I did. I had a demo for many years.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I won't tell you the number of cars that I had during that 11 or 12 year span.
Especially being the top sales guy, you probably had the choice of which one you wanted.
When I moved into management, it was back then that was normal, commonplace for your
manager got demo. Yeah,
absolutely.
All the managers had demos.
Absolutely.
That was the first job I got out of college. I was selling cars for a little bit. So, there's a transition, and I think it was like 2014. If I was looking here, what
transpired?
Yeah, look over the fence into real estate. What was going on there?
In 2014, my youngest daughter was 2 or 3 years old at the time, and it was really starting to take over and not be a balanced life. And this is not a knock against the car business. It's changed a lot since I've left, but back then it was, especially in management, it was bell to bell.
Bell to bell.
That's it.
Yep.
Like, you work bell to bell, and if you took your day off, it was like frowned upon. If you went on vacation, it was like, what are you doing? There was a lot of questions there, and that's just the way that industry had been for a long time. Again, it's changed, I think, with
retail sales have always been
But it was tough to raise 2 kids and have a sustainable marriage and just have a work-life balance.
Yeah.
Working 75 hours a week.
Yeah.
So I had an epiphany, and it's kind of funny. Most people don't realize this. I have the picture on my social media. So if you go through my social media and you find it, you'll please like it.
Right.
It was a really defining moment for me. We were on a family vacation in December. My wife is Colombian, so we were down in Colombia, and I climbed a mountain. And I'm not a rock climber, a mountain climber, right? So we went on a hike, and I went with a guide, and he decided to take the long way up. Which was tough and difficult, and it challenged me, and I just started to rethink some things. And when
it's funny how your life flashes in front of you when your legs are hurting.
Right.
I'm
struggling to climb up this mountain.
Getting your leg up on the next rock.
Right. Yeah. So when I got up there, there's just pure beauty. The mountain or hill is called Cerro Tusa, which is notoriously famous for Juan Valdez, which is like the icon of Colombian coffee. The mountain behind him.
Right.
In the photo is Cerro Tusa. So I climbed that.
Right.
But when I got to the top, I just, it created an opportunity for me to really self-reflect and say, this is what life is about. It's about family. It's about doing things you love, and it's about capturing the moment. Like we have limited time here.
Yes.
So I want to do something that's going to make an impact. I want to do something that's going to be fun. And you'll read it in my profile, and it has defined me. I was able to, take my vacation, get my real estate license, and then figure out a way to pair the two things I love most, which I love people. I'm a people person. Always have been. And sales. I love the chase. I love the pursuit. I love the closing. I had a real passion for sales and people. And the best way to do that is I went from selling the number 2 thing that most people buy besides a boat, which is a car, to selling the number 1 thing, which is a home, right? So I was able to really define that and find peace in that and really create a life that was a life by design and was a life that I wanted to live and give me the balance that I was looking for.
Yeah. So you just jump in cold turkey. You took your vacation.
I did. I took my vacation, got my license.
Got your license.
And it's kind of funny. I'm just if you know me or get to know me, I'm just an intense person. I'm just an overachiever. That's just who I am, right? So I missed one question on the real estate course exam, and I just it ate me up. Anyways, moving forward, I got my license, and then I joined a small local boutique agency down in St. Augustine, and got some training, and I got heavily involved at the Board of Realtors. I was looking for mentors. Mentors had always been a big part of my success. I was looking for people to learn from and people that would pour into me, and I found that. I found it in a few different organizations, a few different people, and let's
hold on there for a minute, because this is one thing that I've mentioned several times in the other some other episodes. How important is it to be involved in the board? Now, obviously, I go down there. If I see you down there, obviously, there's a regular group down there that you see, but a lot of agents, some of them never. The only time they ever may go there is if they're going to sit in on a CE class because they're not taking it online.
Sure.
And here you were just, obviously you had the sales background, but you know much about real estate and what's going on in the industry. You dove in there to run into people who were successful.
That's what I was looking for, was to try to surround myself with as many successful people as possible. Now, don't get me wrong. There are plenty of people that are involved at the board that don't have the success that you would define as success in real estate, right? They're not top producers. They're not running their own companies or organizations, but they define success differently. They define success by being an advocate for the industry. They define success by being involved in their local community and making an impact.
Right.
So I believe that you can do both. So to your question, how important is it? I think it's important if you're the type of person that is going to be able to harness that energy that comes from that, and the type of person that's going to be able to get some fulfillment out of being actively engaged and actively involved. But to your point, there are plenty of realtors who aren't, that are very successful and top producers. But I think that if we want to really make an impact in our industry and make sure that the realtor brand is around for many years to come and evolves with the times, you have to be involved. You have to be involved.
Right. You're the incoming president.
I am.
And since we're talking about the board,
installation's in 2 days.
2 days.
No, tomorrow.
Thursday. Okay. What are some things that you want to, you have on you must have some things on your mind that you want to improve?
I do. The soapbox just got bigger.
Yes.
Thanks, Tracy. I got 3 initiatives.
Yeah.
I've got 3 initiatives. I've had them for quite some time. Actually, because of COVID, I was actually supposed to be president last year. But because of COVID, and in fairness to the previous president, Berta Odom,
didn't get a lot of time.
Yeah, we decided to extend it an additional year, which was great for me because we had a banner year at the company and was able to go through some transitions. But I was also able to refocus and just really hone in on what I want to accomplish. So there are 3 things as the president that are on the main focus for me. One is education. We have to do a better job educating our realtors and providing education that's relevant, right? The things you used to teach 10 years ago, they're not relevant.
Right.
What's relevant now? Social media, marketing, contract law, and understanding how to run your business, right? That's important stuff. So education's a really, really big deal for us as a board, to make sure that we can raise that baseline knowledge of our realtor membership. Engagement's a big deal. COVID has done a lot of different things. And unfortunately, one of the bad things it's done is it's disengaged a lot of people, not just for our membership, but for organizations, for companies.
When you say disengaged, do you think because some people have evolved around it,
right,
and find a way to conquer that,
sure,
where others have used it as an excuse?
I think that's exactly what it is. Others have had to adapt, and I think that you're always going to have those types of people that just figure out a way to make it work.
Right.
And then you're always going to have those folks that are using it as a crutch or an excuse. Oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this, or what's the point, right?
Now, you say that from an angle. Remember, we're on number 2, Zach. Write that down. You say that from an angle almost as if you're an employer.
Yeah.
Right? And you've been a broker. You've led sales teams. How important is it that person's there because they want to be there?
It's incredibly important.
Yeah.
I don't think that you get the buy-in not only from the leader or whoever's running the organization, but you also won't get the buy-in from the membership or the employees. Mm-hmm. If you're not really interested in being there, and you can see that, like, my passion is there, so engagement's a big part of that, because we got to bring those people back in and show them the value.
So when you're talking about engagement, you're talking about engagement with the board, with the members, active in the board itself.
In the members,
okay,
yeah.
All right, I just want to clarify. You didn't mean active, like in your brokerage or many of these brokers. They may have 60 agents, but only 10 are really selling stuff.
It's no different, and I think that's my advantage is I look at my position, although it's a volunteer position. It's something I want to do as a servant leader. I still look at it the same way as running an organization, right?
Right.
Because I'm the leader, and if I'm not out there trying to engage these folks and bringing value to their membership, because at the end of the day, as a board of realtors, whether it's NEFAR or Flagler or St. Augustine Board of Realtors, those are people that are paying a membership. They're paying dues to be a part of that organization. And when their questions become, what am I getting as a return? What's my value proposition from them?
Right.
Why am I paying them?
Right.
When that starts to become cloudy, or when it no longer is relevant and you feel like you're paying and the value doesn't exceed what you're paying, that's a problem.
Right.
And that's where you get disengagement coming in. They don't see the value in being involved or going to the events or being a member of that organization. And that's when you start to have the problem.
So membership
engagement
or just increase numbers too.
Yeah.
I assume it's
we want to increase our membership engagement, but we also want to get new engagement, right? Because with these types of organizations and with these types of platforms, a lot of times you can have recycled people, right? Where people are just moving around, but it's the same group of people. We don't want that. I want new blood. I want new ideas. I want to innovate. I want to grow. And the only way to do that is to be able to broaden your horizons, open your mind up a little bit, and start accepting other ideas and other people. And that's a big part of it.
Right.
It's a big part of it.
Right. Number 3.
Number 3 is exposure. So this lends to the Realtor brand. I'm heavily involved at Florida Realtors. But there are some really, really awesome realtors in our communities all across the country, but specifically in our local market that do really, really awesome things. And I think as a member of the Board of Realtors, I think we could do a better job of exposing our membership and the good that they make, the good that they do and the positive impact that they make on our community. It's our job to be able to make sure that the general public, if they have a perception of realtors, we make an impact on that, a positive impact, and hopefully try to change that. Because you got to remember, I'm coming from being in the car business, right? So if you've ever looked at the surveys, J.D. Power and Associates and all these different surveys, they're down there. You know, not a knock against any other profession, but you're down there with dentists. Nobody likes to go to the dentist, insurance people, attorneys. And again, not a knock against any of those, because I have plenty of friends that own those businesses or are in those industries. But
know.
The general public, you're down there. And I can make an impact. You can make an impact. We can all make an impact to elevate how the general public feels about realtors. And the best way to do that is educate them and expose what we do.
Because I know the board, and I know a lot of the people that obviously together. When you mention highlight some of the outstanding real agents in the area.
Yeah.
I think that highlighting them, getting them in to talk, to give a seminar on whatever it may be, whether it's social media, just business planning, whatever it may be. But folk like us, those people really, I find, and having a lot of them on the podcast, like yourself, they want to give to other realtors.
Sure.
They don't see other realtors as competition. They really don't see that, and I'm sure you feel the same way because you're mixing at the board. Not everybody works for Coldwell Banker Premier.
No, I mean, a majority of the people that I talk to on a regular basis don't necessarily work for our company, and that's okay.
Yeah.
There's plenty of business to go around.
Yeah.
There's plenty of business to go around. And if we all help each other, again, that goes back to that engagement and education. If we all help each other get better, then as an industry and as a whole, we get better.
Right.
And that's the main focus.
Do you? So I'm obviously not. I'm married to a real estate agent, but I'm not in the industry, and I'm thinking, okay, what is their mindset here, of what the impression that they want to give the community? What do you feel right now, in our area, not nationally, just in our area, is the perception of the real estate agents? Because obviously I hang out with a lot of great real estate agents. We've seen obviously I invite them on the podcast for a reason, because they're great, right? So you kind of talk to them and get to know them. But is there realtors out there really doing a bad job that's really has a percentage of the community?
I think so.
Not so warm and fuzzy.
I think so. It's the bad apple scenario, right? Because and this is a big part of Florida Realtors and NAR, National Association of Realtors push is that barrier to entry to get into real estate. I mean, it's a 63-hour course, right? So I'm not saying it's easy, but what I am saying is it's not super hard. They don't make it very difficult.
Right.
Right.
There's not a big financial investment.
There's not. So
a few weeks of your life,
Exactly.
and maybe you don't like it, you can go do something else.
So when you have that, when it comes so easy, you do have some licensees that get in the business for the wrong reasons, right? And I think that bad apple, or that scenario where they're just after the money, or they think it's they believe in certain programs on TV that it's a get rich quick scheme. It's not. It's hard work.
Yes.
It's just a different type of work. Right. So I think that there are a majority of realtors out there who A, don't have the education from a broker standpoint, or B, they don't have the right motives for why they do it, and that can sour the public perception.
I see a lot, because working for a large builder, I see a lot of these agents who are giving their a lot of their commissions to offset the help the buyer.
Sure.
Now that may sound great to any buyer right now, but the reality is that means that guy's not making a lot of money.
Sure.
He's got to work somewhere else, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're literally working somewhere else. They are just signing the contract because they're licensed to simply cut you back money.
Right.
If you don't want their service, don't ask for their service. In my opinion.
Right.
That part-time guy is really not giving realtor a good name, because they're like, oh, what do I need him for, really? I mean,
That goes back to the
other than
value,
money.
right?
Yeah.
There's a saying out there that, and I don't know who said it, so don't quote me on this, but value is only important in the absence of service, right? So if you're not providing a service, you have no value. And I think that's where the issue comes in, where you've got these realtors, and they can do whatever they want, right? License law allows them to do whatever they want to do as long as it's disclosed to both parties. But they don't know their value, and they don't necessarily understand what they bring to the table. So maybe they feel like they've got to give some back, or discount this or discount that. When in reality, if they were just engaged and educate themselves and really see how incredibly important your job is to help somebody buy the most valuable asset they're ever going to buy, and they're relying on you, your eyes, your ears, you're navigating the process with them, and you're the person to do that.
Right.
There's real value in that.
There's because I see what my wife does, and she's totally homegrown. Yeah. She doesn't buy any leads. She's just totally homegrown. Obviously, I make the income, because if she doesn't sell something, no problem.
Sure.
But because she is so involved in what she's doing and delivering that service, adding great value, the fruit has fallen off the tree consistently every month.
Yep. I would liken that to, honestly, the drive in my career is I've never pursued the money. Never pursued the money. but the money's found me, right?
Right.
Because I'm doing it for a reason. I'm doing it for the purpose and the passion. And you're exactly right. You know, I don't buy leads. A lot of my agents don't buy leads. They do it organically. They cultivate the relationships, but there's real value in what they do, and they take what they do very seriously, and they're professionals at it.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. It's no different than any other industry or any other thing that you're going to do. If you really take it seriously and you're a professional at it, you deserve to get paid what the normal rate is.
Right.
And I think to your initial statement about, you know, giving back and cutting commissions and things of that nature, I think that has a lot to also do with the market, because found business, easy money, right? You know, it's just easy money. They don't have to do a whole lot to work for it. So
they don't see the values.
Yeah.
But trust, it gets thin, and you're going to remember, why did I, if I had that money from back in October. Yeah. Steve, so I mean, you've risen so quick. You were in the car business. You've held, and now you're president of the board. You're in front of people all the time. Personal development.
Yes.
What are the things? Are you a book reader? Is there someone you follow? Podcast listener? What do you do to keep yourself sharp?
All of these. Grant Cardone. He's an old car guy. If you didn't know that.
I think I recall.
Yeah, he's an old car guy. John Maxwell, I see you there. A lot of personal development. Honestly, one of the things that I focus on most is just being a better me. So I read books, but my guilty pleasure is Audible. I'm in the car.
A lot of people like that.
I'm in the car all the time.
There's some people that like to watch the video, like the podcast.
Yeah.
Watch the video podcast. I'm like, I
can't believe
I'll
it.
hear it in the car, or sometimes I'll play it while I'm working, but I like to sit there and watch someone talk.
Sure.
You know, yeah. I have it online right now. Watching this.
Thanks
now.
for watching. But no, I mean, I think I'm always just, I learned a long time ago that you got to really be sacred with what you put into your brain and what you put in and what you eat, right?
Right.
As food for your brain. So I'm a positive person, right? We have a saying in my household, and my kids are going to laugh at this. I'll make them watch this. And this actually comes from Stephen Covey, PMA. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of that. It's positive mental attitude. It's an acronym for that. So we have a saying in our house every morning. It's seize the day with PMA, right? So every day when you wake up, it's your opportunity to say, I'm either going to have a good day or a bad day, or you're going to let outside things impact how the rest of your day goes, right? So I just
That's powerful stuff.
I just don't believe in that. I believe that you have the power to be able to say, you know what, that's something I couldn't have controlled. I'm gonna deal with it now, but I'm gonna move on, and I'm gonna move on in a positive mindset.
When you say that, I try to on a daily basis. I may actually. I'd like to be more like you, but I have a feeling I feel I like take a lot of the negativity, but what I try to do when it goes back, I try to make people smile throughout the day.
Sure.
Whether it's tipping the waitress at a little extra at lunch, or something like that, doing something
for others,
and not have to tell, just doing it.
Yeah.
And they find it, and they're like, oh man, thank you.
Yeah.
And that or you send a card out. I do a lot of that, birthday cards and things like that, where people hopefully I'm hoping at the other end they're opening it, and whether it's a picture or whatever, as you receive some of my birthday cards, that just gave them a little smile for the day that someone thought about them.
Yeah, but so I'll reverse this, right? We're gonna switch cameras here. I would ask you, Tracy, why you do that, because I will tell you, I appreciate the personal relationship that you've cultivated and you've tried to develop with not only with me but many successful people in the real estate industry. So I would ask you the same thing. Why do you do that? And I obviously, you try not to ask questions you don't know the answer to, but I have an idea of because I know you, why you do that.
Well, I mean, ultimately, as a salesperson, you want them to want to do business with me. But as I teach the young people here in the office, you've got to reach out. And if you're impacting people, you're influencing them. You got to read John Maxwell. If you're not reading John Maxwell and I say influence, you won't ultimately know what I'm talking about.
Right.
The power of influence that I tell some of the loan officers, you may never get a deal with that agent you went out to coffee with. They may think you're the greatest guy, but they've been in the business a while or whatever, or their brother-in-law, whatever, they have a relationship with someone else. Worst case scenario is you're on the other end of the deal, and they say, hey, I had lunch with Tracy. He's a great guy.
Yep.
That's all I need.
Right.
If they don't know you, they have no problem going, oh, maybe you want to find another lender. I don't know that dude.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So it's just that power of influence as the podcast and bringing you on, sitting down here with you an hour, as we probably wouldn't normally be able to, and really drill down some questions.
Right.
Who does like a real interview, right? Or hearing your story and researching you. Obviously, I learned a lot. When I take the time, just go on someone's LinkedIn and research you. That's why a lot of people say, like on the social media, like other people's social media, let them know. As we were talking about Carl White and Mortgage Market Analysts, go on their social media, like the Realtor social media. Take a few minutes to see, oh, you've got a couple of kids. Oh, you go to Orlando, you're at a baseball game, whatever. You are involved in you're influencing them in a positive way, and they see you as a positive way. So when you do interact, hopefully that you grow that relationship. But you got to plant a lot of seeds.
That's it.
To grow the relationship.
That's it.
Yeah.
You do a good job of cultivating the relationship, and then back to your point, making a positive impact.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's so easy in today's world to be negative, right? So I will tell you, I've taken a hiatus from social media for the past couple of years, just because, again, censoring that positivity versus negativity. It's hard to do that if you're always on social media, right? Because there's just so much negative out there.
Yes.
Even my kids will tell you, I watch news. I watch 30 minutes of news a couple times a week, and that's it.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't invest in any of that other stuff.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Yep.
Because it'll cloud your perception. It'll cloud the way you think. It'll cloud a lot of those things, and it helps me by not having those things create impressions in my mind.
I have found, really since November of 19, shut it off.
Yep.
And we got to do what we got to do.
Yep.
We got to go to work every day,
Life
and
goes
we got to
on.
make that change at every individual in their circle of influence, their neighborhood, their work, and make those positive. And you got to drive on, put your family, as every American is doing. And we have gotten. The social media has allowed people, just because when you start reading this research on it, they're like deliberately triggering us.
Oh yeah, totally.
They're really literally just triggering us. And when you stop and say, hold on a second, come on, and walk away, but totally. So let's just change up a little bit, because I want to talk about Coldwell Banker Premier.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. You're now in charge of the office at World Golf Village.
I'm in charge of all of them at this point now. So I'm the regional director.
So what offices are we talking about?
So we've got, we'll start going from north to south.
Okay.
We've got our World Golf Village office.
Right.
We've got 2 offices in Palencia, the Palencia office, and then the Global Luxury office.
Right.
And then we've got
Cricket
an office.
Huff.
Cricket, yep. And then we've got San Marco, so downtown St. Augustine. We've got the beach office, which was where I started as the managing broker for that office. We've also got an office in Palm Coast. We've also got an office in Ormond Beach. And we plan to grow and scale. And then we've got a few satellite offices in a few of the developments throughout St. Johns County. So as regional director, it's my job to work with those managers who run those offices and help them grow the office. So I love.
So you kind of took on this role, if I saw last summer.
Right. So part of that shift was, and kind of just the evolution of me at Coldwell Banker, as I joined there in 2015, came in as an agent, and slowly but surely kind of worked my way back into leadership. And it wasn't necessarily intentional. It's just natural for me to help people and want to lead and want to grow.
You want to be involved. You want to influence others in a positive way. Right. Teach them the skills, and hopefully they can be successful.
Exactly. So then I took over as the managing broker for the beach office. I got my broker's license. And still to this day, I'm mad at DBPR. I got my broker's license one day after I was eligible to get it. I wanted it on that day, and they didn't have an opportunity for me to take the test. That's a little insight into who I am, right? But I helped take over the beach office and helped grow that office, and then just took over. Well, not took over, but I helped and took on another role as business development director, which I paired with our marketing team, and I paired with the other managers, and just really focused on trying to grow.
That's getting into the mic.
Sorry.
It's the vibration of his phone.
So I really focused on trying to grow the
That's
business.
leadership,
That's
the phone
it.
ringing, yeah.
And then, so one of the big things, the big paradigm shift that kind of happened that kind of pushed me further into this role is Steve Kuplo, our previous owner for Coldwell Banker Premier Properties, he started that company 30 plus years ago as an independent. In 2010, he joined with the Coldwell Banker franchise, and then we grew. I mean, we grew a lot. So in 2020, our franchise agreement was up, and we were all, as a leadership team, talking about what we wanted to do. And it became very clear that a succession plan was something that was needed to be talked about. And we were being courted by a lot of different companies, by Coldwell Banker the brand, by other franchises, by other affiliates of the Coldwell Banker brand. And one that approached us was just top notch. The Schmidt family of companies, they're based out of Traverse City, Michigan. They made Mr. Kuplo and the other partners an offer that just made sense.
Right.
And not only, it wasn't about the money at that point. It was about the fact that they could help us grow to a level that we wanted to grow to, because they were a big company at this point. And then all of their core values. Yeah, all of their core values, their resources, just the company as a whole, fifth generation, family-owned company that's been with Coldwell Banker for a really long time, and it just made perfect sense for us to be able to join and become a member of the Schmidt family of companies. So we did that. We did that in 2020 in the midst of a pandemic, honestly.
Yeah.
And it was really, really successful, and we did have to move a few people around, and part of that moving around was me elevating to regional director and helping run all the offices.
So we've got agents that are watching this show.
Sure.
They may not be totally, they often do shift around.
Sure.
I don't know, thinking the grass might be greener on the other side, which sometimes it is.
Yep.
What is it that you're doing? What is Coldwell Banker Premier doing that is driving that an agent would want to come over? I mean, sell it. What are you guys doing?
How much time do we have? I'm kidding. I don't believe in feature dumping and telling you all these different things.
Right. Oh, we got all this great technology.
Right.
I hear that all the time, and I'm like, guys, Keller Williams,
Everybody has
EXP, that's what they're driving on. And be honest with you, as an outsider, I've heard a certain very large brokerage nationally, obviously internationally, has been talking about it for years, and it hasn't developed.
Right. So here's the thing that I would say, right? And again,
it's not Coldwell Banker.
Thank you for that.
Yes.
For clarifying. I reference back to the auto industry only because it's just so relatable to me. But if you took, 3 mid-sized sedans, and I'm doing this just to make it easier to understand. You took an Altima, a Camry, and a Sonata, right? 3 different manufacturers, 3 different brands. You took the badges off of them, you wouldn't know the difference.
Right.
Right? And I don't say that to discredit those auto manufacturers, but it's the same thing in real estate, right? You take several of the largest brokerages in the country, the Coldwell Bankers, the Berkshires, the Remax, the Century 21s. I'm not calling you guys out, but what I am saying is we all offer a majority of the same things.
Right.
The difference for us at Coldwell Banker Premier Properties is our people, right? So it's not just our people. It's the way that we utilize our people. It's the way that we do all these different things. So I'm just going to talk to you.
Amen.
I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how we decided we would change, right?
Yeah.
So several years ago, we said, you know what? Most brokerages look at their agents like their agents, and the end result is the customer. As a leadership team, we shifted that. We no longer worry as much. We do care about the consumer, but we no longer worry as much about the end result being the consumer. We treat the agent like they're our customer. We're in business with the agent.
Yeah, well, they're there voluntarily.
That's it.
You're not on a payroll.
We're independent
not giving them
contractor.
benefits.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we provide the agent all the tools, the training, the resources, the support, everything that they need to run a successful business, the end result is the same. The consumer gets a great transaction. We grow our business. We buy and sell real estate, and that's what happens, right? So that was a big shift for us as a leadership team. It's no longer just about the consumer. It's about the agent. The agent is our customer. So we have a value proposition, and it's easy to remember. So this is a great plug. Coldwell Banker did a rebrand, and if you haven't seen the new Coldwell Banker logo, it has a star now. It's the North Star, supposed to be guiding you home. There's a big story behind that. But what we did was we took our value proposition and we repurposed it into an acronym that is STAR, right? So that's easy for our agents to remember. It's easy for the public to remember. It's easy for our managers to remember, quite honestly, right?
Right.
So the STAR acronym, the first is the S, and it's support. We offer an unrivaled level of support. When you join our company, you get every single managing broker cell phone number. Every office has a managing broker. Every office has an ASC, which is an agent service coordinator. Their job is to literally help the agents on an everyday basis.
Whatever questions they have,
Everything
how do you
they
do
need.
this?
The only thing they can't answer are the 2 C's, questions about cash or contracts, money or contracts. They're not licensed, right? So
Right.
they can't answer those questions.
Right.
But other than that, we provide a unrivaled level of support. We've got a full-fledged, top-notch marketing team that they get access to. So the level of support that you get from us as a brokerage is far different from other people. I've walked into brokerages looking to talk to the broker, and the person at the front desk doesn't know who the broker is. They don't have the cell phone number. They're having to spend 10 minutes trying to track down the business card. And I'm not going to tell you who it is, but my point is those agents don't necessarily have that level of support.
Yes.
The T, back to what you talked about, yes, it's technology, but more importantly, it's training, right? And relevant training, actual practical application training. I'm not sitting you in front of a computer and saying, click this, watch this video, take a test. No, it's write an example contract, send it to me, and we're going to redline it.
Right.
Right? Different things like that.
Or at the changing market that we've had, how you're doing escalation clauses and all this other. This is stuff that experienced people
Real life
are
training.
needing to. If you're not being taught these things, then you probably need to find someone that will.
Call me. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
My point, but so training is a really big deal. We have a training schedule. It's a weekly training schedule. We have tons of people willing to train in virtual training. Right. The A is awareness, and we rely on the brand for this a lot. Because Coldwell Banker is a brand that people know. We've been around since 1906, and we do rely on the brand awareness, right? People know who Coldwell Banker is. So we rely on that, we promote that, and we use that to our advantage. And then the last but not least is resources. You mentioned technology. We've got every single technology that you could possibly imagine that are resources for our agents. But the difference is every single one of our people in leadership, every single one of our support staff, they know how to use it and help you implement it into your business.
So let me summarize this up for an agent, and if I could simplify this for you, because I see this. My wife became an agent, and you are running a business. If you've never run a business before, it's just you to start off with. You need some marketing materials. You need to know what works and what doesn't work, or how to use it and when to use it from a marketing standpoint. How to, a lot of younger agents recently the escalation clause because there's so many offers and so forth. How are you going to win that deal? Do you have access to somebody who's going to sit down with you and say, yeah, this is how we're going to do this. And winning deals for you.
Sure.
Because it's right now, this is very important right now. You may sell a house very easily, but buying a house is very difficult because there's so many multiple offers. And it's how important it is to sit down, as I know a lot of other brokers say, oh yeah, when I interview them, I tell them go talk to 2 other people because they're confident in what they're delivering. But listening to the podcast and listening what you need to sit down with Steve and dig into those things that he just talked about. And get the deal. How are you going to do that? How accessible when I call on the phone is someone going to answer it, or am I put on hold, or if I have to leave a voice message, how long is it until the call's returned? You don't understand. You're running a business. You don't have time. You're buying into Coldwell Banker, and Coldwell Banker Premier, and Steve because he's supplying that. It's like buying a franchise. If you buy a franchise, what's the first grade? What kind of support you're going to give me? And some people don't even know what real support they even need. They
don't know what they don't know.
They don't know what they don't know.
They're brand new.
Yeah,
they're brand new. They don't know what they don't know. And back to the barrier to entry, right? When you go to get your real estate license, they don't teach you how to sell real estate. I don't know if you know that or not. They don't.
No.
They teach you how to stay out of jail and how to pass a test, right? And this is not a knock against them. That's what they have to do.
Some do's and don'ts.
Right.
How to stay out of jail and
but
not get
after
fined
that,
or whatever.
to your point, it's a business.
Yeah.
You gotta run it just like a business. You gotta be conscious of your time. You gotta be conscious of your marketing. You gotta budget. There's a bunch of different things, and if you don't have somebody to walk you through that process, it's gonna be tough.
It's from being positive. You're gonna grow. Yeah. Do you have support? that they're giving it there? Or are they going to show you how to grow? I think that is probably one of the most difficult things. It's one of the most difficult things I see for loan officers. Right. We reach a maximum point that we can do by ourselves. Yep. We need certain support. We talked a little bit about this before the show. And does your manager even know how to grow?
Right.
Some of them are put in a position and they're like, but then all of a sudden they got this realtor's doing great or a loan officer doing great, and they're like, what do I do now? How do I utilize their skill? Yeah. How do I take LeBron James and get him to the playoffs?
Sure.
Because he can't do it all by himself. He needs 4 other players.
Yeah. He's got to have a supporting cast around him, and I think you're exactly right. To be a successful realtor or real estate professional, you have to have a cast of people or a team of people that help you get there, and your broker plays a pivotal role in that. So does somebody like you. You know, you got to have a good lender you know can get the job done. You got to have good home inspectors. You got to have all these supporting cast
surrounding
people.
yourself by at least 5 great people. But this all goes back, and we've mentioned this several times. Of course, we know it's in all these books. Right. Every one of these books will tell you, surround yourself with the top people.
Well, one that you mentioned that I want to bring up, which you just talked about, is how do you get past a point? Well, in John Maxwell's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, there's called the law of the lid, right?
Yep.
You can only
only
get so far.
Yeah.
Until you expand and grow and break through that. Well, and this is a shameless plug. Can I do this?
Go for it.
If you've reached your lid, call me, because I can break through it for you.
There's no doubt you've broken through many lids very quickly at a very young age. I mean, whether it was in the auto and gotten to where you're at, to now you're president of the Board of Realtors. You're obviously a huge influence in the community, and now running. You're over. How many offices was that? 5 or 6 offices between Ormond Beach and
10 total. Yep.
I mean, so you've broken through many lids. People have seen what you're doing, and obviously, I forget the name of the family that bought
Schmidt family.
The Schmidt family to reach out and say, we want Steve to run the region.
Yeah.
So you've broken through those lids, and I could just see, you're looking over, because you have a lot of great realtors. I mean, we mentioned Cricket earlier. There's others, I'm sure, really, and you're probably looking at how can I increase their business?
Absolutely.
10 to 20% or whatever. Can I get them another 20 sales this year versus last year? What can I do? Yeah. And that, whether it's coaching them on sport, I think a lot of people think they have to do everything. If you want to be great in this business, I'm telling you right now, do what you do best. Right. If that's out showing the houses and building relationships like a Melissa Ricks, then that's what you do. You hire people to do the $10 and $15, well, now $20 an hour job.
Sure.
Right? You have to hire people for that if you want to make the $500,000 an hour.
Sure, and we've done that with our agents. But I got to go back to one thing, right? So because servant leadership is a part of who I am, and I always make sure that agents understand this, and just people in general understand this. You can't define your success by comparing yourself to other people. You can't, right? So when you talk about helping agents grow their business, it's not necessarily just about them growing their business. Sometimes I have conversations with agents. Bill Miller, for example. The guy's an absolute machine. He's my top producer, a machine.
Should I have Bill on the show?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, Bill,
I don't know that he'll do it, though, because time is incredibly important to him, right? So for him, it's not about getting past the $40 or $50 million mark, which he'll exceed. It's more for him about balance, right? How do I still do what I'm doing, but gain more of something that's important to me, which is quality time with family.
Well,
and
enjoy the fruits of his labor.
Absolutely, and you can't let other agents or compare yourself to other people and let that define your success. Some people would be completely happy with selling $10 or $15 million a year, but being able to take 2 or 3, 4 vacations a year, right? And being able to not have to work necessarily on the weekends. Some people want to have a team and they want to grow it to 200 million. To each his own, but you've got to define what success is for you, and you can't do that by comparing.
I like the successful. My mindset of the maybe that's just me. I really, when you're successful, to reach out and you need an assistant.
Yep.
And now create a great job for somebody.
Yep.
They love doing. You like being around. They're helping you. You're helping them by providing them a great job and atmosphere to work in.
Sure.
That, to me, that's success.
That is success, and that's how you grow, and that's how you scale, and that's how it becomes much easier to grow and break through those ceilings, right? is because you got people on your staff, you got people that are supporting you doing something they love to do, right? I know of teams that have people on the team that they're just in the wrong seat. They're on the right bus, but they're in the wrong seat.
Right.
Right.
I like that
analogy. You're a buyer's agent, but really you're great at presentations and you're task oriented. Really, you should be a listing agent, right?
Right.
And then the opposite, somebody who doesn't really necessarily like people. You got them out there driving people around. Well, you got to be personable to be a buyer's agent. You got to be able to develop that relationship and get people to like you. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. It's that simple, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just a matter of identifying who the people are and putting them in the right seat.
My man Zach's behind the camera right here. He knows because I've talked to him so many times. In our world, it's who makes the phone ring.
Right.
And it does. Some people are really good at doing the back end stuff of the loan.
Sure.
Other people are out there creating the relationships and building the confidence and making the phone ring. It's business. And you have a process. And then there's great people who are processors, great people who are underwriters. And if they're in the wrong seat, it can cost your business money. Right. You may not realize it's costing you money, but it is costing you money.
That could be the lid that's keeping you from getting to the next step.
Yeah, 100%. Man, this is such great stuff. Let me see if I have any additional questions, because I really didn't even use my questions.
Fire away, Tracy.
Yeah, really. So you took over as the regional in last summer.
Correct.
You're now calling the shots for the most part.
Yeah.
You have a leadership circle because you got the brokers of every individual thing to work with.
Sure.
What are some of the things that you immediately wanted to get in and make some changes? Maybe obviously some offices may have been doing them, other offices weren't, but you wanted to build that culture, that uniformity between those offices. What were some of the things that you quickly implemented?
So some of the things that we focus on, and it wasn't just me. I've got a lot of really great people around me. Mm-hmm. Steve Kuplo is still very involved, the previous owner. He's our regional vice president. Mm-hmm. Rob West, those two have been great mentors to me. And Rob West has moved to VP of Finance and Commissions for the entire state. But what I can tell you, some of the things that we focused on that were incredibly important, and this is for any business, is operational excellence, right? How do we do what we do every day better? How do we free up more time? How do we put the right people in the right place? How do we create processes and procedures that allow us to be able to do more, scale, and get bigger, right? Because that's what our goal is. We want to get bigger.
Bigger, better, faster.
That's it. Mm-hmm. We have a goal. We it's my job to cast a vision for our company and our region. In our region, our goal is to close $1 billion in 1 year. We'll quickly approach $700 million this year, and that's a 3 to 5 year goal. But the only way we do that is becoming better in all facets of our
processes
business.
Are so huge, and not everyone is right. I could tell you what I want to. I believe there's a better way to do it.
Sure.
But there's smart people that actually will actually put the screws to it, so to speak. They'll actually A, B, C, and put all the little details and make it a much more efficient process. Add the technology in or whatever it is. For sure, not everyone can do that. There's certain people that just have that analytical, precision, detailed mind. So again, putting someone in the right seat.
And you got to empower them. And sometimes because you don't empower people, you don't know what their true talents are, right? Because they're stuck in a job or in a position, and you want them to play in that box. Well, sometimes you got to take the lid off the box and just see what people can do. So I believe in empowering people. You have a task. Here's the task I need to get done. Here's how I would do it. But it's yours.
Yeah.
It's yours to get done.
You've got to empower. Empower people is so huge. I see it so many times. Everyone always hates that manager or micromanage.
Yeah.
You're a manager. Be confident in what you're doing. Stop being afraid someone's going to take your job.
Sure.
Get in there and empower. There's a lot of smart people. I personally do not want to manage people.
Sure.
I've done that in my life. I am old school. Mm-hmm. I think you're probably more new school than me. You're probably my wife would say, better tack than me. Yeah.
Thank you.
And that's right. What you excel at.
Right.
Generally, your salespeople make more to your managers anyway. I'm at that point in my life. I just want to sell, do my loans. Let me manage my loans,
Sure.
but I don't need to manage a bunch of underwriters and, everybody who's out sick or whatever. I don't have,
That's not the best place.
I'm
for
short
you.
on empathy.
Yeah.
That's my weakness. I'm short on empathy. I'm here to work. You have a family to feed.
Right.
Get your butt here.
Right.
That's.
But at least you recognize that, right?
Yeah.
At least you recognize that, and you're able to harness that and say, you know what, that's not something I want to do.
Right.
I want to spend my time here, and clearly it's working for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So kudos to you.
Thank you.
Congratulations
Thank
to your
you.
success. I think that's a big part of is identifying and being self-aware of what you're good at and what you're not, and it's okay to not be good at everything. Just so we're all clear, I'm not great at everything. I'm just not, right? We talked about this. We joked about this, right? Tracy was like, hey, man, I want to get you on the podcast. You're tougher to get a hold of than the president. and a part of that is because I'm just a doer. So one of my big downfalls, if we're talking about weaknesses, I'm just a doer. So I won't say, I will just call it what it is. I'm usually late, like a little bit late, because I'm just constantly trying to fit one more thing in, do one more thing, talk to one more person, right? So that is one of my weaknesses. Is I just try to do too much, right?
Who's been the biggest influence in your life?
That's a loaded question, right? So I think that life goes in chapters and seasons. In the early stages, my parents. I got to give a lot of credit to my parents. My mom's a Filipino immigrant, came over from the Philippines and started cutting hair and did that for 30 years. My dad, who's actually really my stepdad, but he's my father. He raised me since I was 2. He's a Marine and then got into the diesel mechanic business. But these are people that just worked hard. I mean, they just constantly worked hard. I won't say I was a latchkey kid, but for a long time, like it was, you get home from school, you do your schoolwork, you fix yourself some food, and we'll be home when we get home from work.
Right.
I mean, I think that's pretty much the definition of a latchkey kid,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I just saw them work really, really hard. So that in the early stages and in impressionable stages of my life, they were big impacts. After that, it was, the few people in the automotive industry and a few people in the real estate industry that have been great mentors of mine that have just kind of pushed me along. They held me accountable. They saw something, and they were able to just provide me the opportunities. I say this all the time. All I ever asked for was an opportunity. Nobody ever gave me anything.
Right.
All I asked for was an opportunity, and a few people gave me an opportunity, and I was able to do something with it. And that's what.
I bet you showed up on time.
Oh yeah.
Early in his years, he showed up at time.
Oh, yeah, definitely,
When he got into
definitely.
leadership, he felt that he could show up a little late sometimes.
It's not just that. It is also, I just try to do too much, man. People tell me all the time. I live and die by my schedule, right?
Right.
So to the point where if you don't know this little hack, if in your iPhone calendar, if you put the address of where your appointment is, it will notify you when you need to leave based on where you're at.
Yeah.
So I'm the notorious person that's like pushing the limit. How soon can I leave, or how late can I leave to get there on time?
Right. All right, we're going to wrap things up. These
Sure.
are my 2-minute warning questions here.
Gotcha.
Is it more important who you know or what you know?
I think that's a big question. I think it's relative to what you're asking for. In sales and in leadership, I think it's more important of who you know, because you don't have to have all the answers. You need to employ and find people that do. You talked about this earlier. I've never been afraid of hiring people that were better than me. In fact, I want to hire only people that are better than me. So I don't have to be the one with the answer. I just have to be
the stereotypical thing on that was funny you brought that up. Again, Carl White, Mortgage Market Animals, because we were talking about, like hiring people, hiring assistants. And he says, A players will hire B players. B players will hire C players. So you got to break that mold.
Yep.
Of course, has an A player hire an A plus player? How important, but obviously a lot of great men, well, I'm sure there's women too, but the ones we know in the history books have all surrounded themselves.
Great people.
I think it was Dale, was Carnegie says in his book,
How to win friends and influence people. Yep.
Hiring people that were smarter than he was.
Yep.
Yeah. So I changed this question up a little bit. Normally I ask about Jaguars or whatever. I got tired of asking that question.
I'm a Bucks fan anyways. So.
Bucks fan anyway. Okay.
Go Bucks.
You have teams and you have individuals. Now, without being biased, and I'm sure you treat them the same way. Everyone, with whatever they bring to the table, you give it back to them. Do you think that at least I personally, why I'm asking this question is because I think some of the teams
they want to be teams, but they don't know how to actually operate a team.
Right.
And therefore the team fails.
Right.
Independents or teams, if you had a choice and said, this is a route that Coldwell Banker Premier is going,
Sure.
comes down thing that we're going to all be either teams or we're all going to be individuals. Mm-hmm. What would you, from a leadership standpoint, rather do?
I would buck the system and say you can't make me pick one or the other. But what I would say is I think that I would rely more on the team side, because I think that you have to realize that even as an individual,
You still need support.
you have a team.
Yeah.
Whether you identify as a team, and I say the Steve Ladrido team or the Tracy Hayes team, whether you identify as that and you put that on your marketing or not, you still have a team. You got a man behind the camera, you got loan processors, you got everybody.
Transaction
That's
coordinators,
it.
yeah.
So
yeah.
it's just a title at that point.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't matter because you have those support staff, you have the supporting cast that makes it a team regardless.
Right. So let's circles back to what we were talking about in the support that you give. Mm-hmm. And this is, a lot of agents get in there and they see teams and they're like, oh man, that person's just sitting in the office and all the agents are out there working to get, but there's a skill to it.
Sure.
There's some people that are really good, and we know some people in this market that are really good at it. You want to build a team, you need to do it right, and you need the support
Right.
of someone like Steve and the mentors that you have.
Yep.
You want to join an organization that has strong team leaders to learn what they're doing.
Absolutely.
It's not just, hey, let's go out and get some other agents to work on it, and then we can,
Right.
if they call us with a question, we'll answer it. It doesn't work that way.
You got to have a plan, and you got to be able to manage them.
Yeah.
So, and that's a big part of it is people don't realize, as a team leader, there's a big part of that is a leader, right? You have to be
You
a
add
leader.
value. You have to add value to these people who are working under you, or
That's
they're
it.
not. They after a while they realize I can go somewhere else.
That's it. If you don't have a leader helping create the direction of where you guys want to go and the process, procedures, and all the other stuff that comes with being a leader or a manager, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe in leaders
Helping
more
you with
important.
your business.
Right. Then you're just a group of people together.
Right.
Right? So there has to be somebody that takes that role. So if you're working on a team and you feel like your team leader isn't doing something, just know that there is a lot that goes into that. It's not just, being the person in the ivory tower calling the shots.
Right.
It's not just
right. Now your wife's from Colombia, so
Yep.
you've been there. You climbed the mountain and everything.
Yeah.
But what's on your guys' travel bucket list? Something.
Everywhere. So we love to travel.
Mm-hmm.
We love to travel. We talked about this before. I travel a lot, not only for business but for pleasure. But Europe. So Europe is something we're going to do. We're going to spend anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks and travel throughout Europe. And I want to get that done within the next 5 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go see. I love traveling. I mean, I've been to the Philippines. I've been to South America, Central America, been all over the country. Europe is the one place I haven't been to. So.
Well, on the other side of the globe, you mean?
the other side.
Not the country, the
Yes.
globe.
Yes.
Steve, thanks for coming on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you
If
for having
someone's watching and they want to contact you, learn more about your team,
Yep.
what's the best way to contact you?
Call me on my cell phone, 904-377-9577. You can also visit any of my websites. Hit me up on social media. Although I don't post a whole lot, I do respond, and I'm there. Or just come by the office, man. Just reach out to me. My contact info's everywhere.
But you said you travel a lot. You don't really station yourself out of any office, is what you told me.
No, I've
Let's
got my beach office that I have an office in.
Okay.
But like for this week, I've been there maybe twice this week. So
Right.
I'm always on the road. I'm always out and about, moving around, shaking hands, and making sure people have what they need and have the support they're looking for.
That's what it's all about, leadership. So, Steve Ladrido, I appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.